Nah, cause I found the site over here. What's up? But I don't think they discovered that I watched some of the videos on the system over here. What's up? That's how they infiltrated some village, and then actually they took over the village from the inside. What's up? And then they left some of the undercovers, yeah, behind for like a special mission to still operate in there. What's up? Yeah. But part of that force came back inside the United States. What's up? And then actually, yeah, dirty on dirty meets. And dirty on the other groups that got demolished the entire infrastructure on the space illegally on the space. No, that's why they get to use groups, other federal groups that are part of the military itself, what's up, to then go off and pose as an undercover from like a different system, like the tobacco and alcohol group of them. So they somewhat swap out into like a different costume and different system to then go off and tackle some problems on the space. So that's why you have to like keep it on the ring to make sure that it does not turn into like a systematic ethnic cleansing inside the space. Yeah, but I said again, there's nothing I can do about it. I said again, I don't even know. I just keep my instinct intact into like my combat awareness. That's why it's like strategies or the systems and all that. But at the same time, I already know what happened behind the scene. That's all. Yeah, I said by the time they were done over here, the best that the other group can do that excited all this fucking thing around the space all that. Because of the fact that they send a whole bunch of kids inside the system itself, and the kids can keep up with like the cyber system because they're educated on the college level with our honor A-grade students that compete inside the computer science space and the entertainment space, and then eventually they saw them go off and they integrate inside the engineering space, ready to go off and run and create power distribution generators for some of the system on the space up. So you're gonna find a lot of that talent inside some of the clubs, some of the bars, and like pretend to go off and like be streets around the space selling drugs. Yeah, with a PhD level IQ, and at the age of like 20 or even as teenagers and stuff, yeah, they'll go off and be backed by like a hive of people that go off and give them the information on how to navigate around the space and stuff. So it's like a Chuck, but like inside Chuck's head, he has maybe like 20 to like 50 elders that are like professors in universities to be able to give him advice and feedbacks on how to go off and like how somewhat be able to blend in inside the system to go off and spy for them on the stuff for them. What's up? Plenty of these kids got killed by the other groups on the space. Yeah, especially within that military zone. That's all. So I said the end verdict of it was a massive failure on the eastern side, beyond if you can imagine, just to be able to cover up a stupidity that was way to like a few spies somewhat going off to like kiss little boys and little girls and like violate them or raping them for like content and material, and then somewhat publishing the work as if they were like immune to everything, because of the fact that they were backed by nuclear powers on the space on larger armies. So that's why they were randomly publishing this stuff over the cyberspace area. What's up? And they hit the wrong kids and the wrong people. Unit 764, and that goal site went down, and eventually they caught the president, or like Honduras, the ex-one, and then they went down to get a big dog over here that put a bounty every police officers inside of his own nation over here, and then eventually they got like 60,000 MS-13 people out of the system itself. And then they went on to like somewhat target a whole bunch of like Chinese police networks around the space, and somewhere that led to like the group over there going off to call for a code red. And then yeah, you got to see what happened to Hamas. All the Iranian, almost all they got the Iranian president, they got the Iranian supreme leader, they got Nasrallah, they got all the other groups on the space. They killed all of them. And then somewhere they demolished Hamas and like the entire Palestinian group on the space up. And then virtually 1.5 million Russians died in Ukraine in the process. Yeah. So I said by the end of the day, I go on about my first specific on something, and then you got to see the outcome of it. Nowadays, they're just like literally just dropping missiles or like a low-key dudes that probably get like be turned into slaves, just like the Islamic State did to like the others, to just go off and be on a boat, try to like smuggle coke or like other type of drugs inside the system by foot or something like that. They just like literally just dropped the missile on them, must have the devil into my thing specific. Yeah, I said by the end of the day, it does not even stop here. What's up? There's another problem across Asia where they engage into like chemical warfare, and then actually most likely they're going to engage into I said the Asians are much more brutal, within their own space here. So that war itself is going to be much more bloodier and worse than the outcome that you see for Iran and Israel. That thing over there is still under control. Same thing with Ukraine and like Russia, especially outside. But aside from that, yeah, the Asian one is like the worst one. What's up? Yeah, maybe I'm just trying to live to like my 40s or even like 50s or 60s or so. Yeah, I'm supposed to make billions. I didn't even know all this stuff was going on behind the scene of it. I just pay attention to it. Yeah, that's why I tell you go the other way, man. You mind your own business, and then yeah. By the time I was going out to volunteer for Ukraine, that's why these dudes were so desperate to go off, and I tried to like help out the Russians into the mistake that they had made. Yeah, they even tried to drag South Africa into an all-out war. Yeah, to just turn it into like what you see Palestine versus Israel is. What's up? Right. So I said, I don't know, man. Somewhere I got better things to go off and do, and never cheat. Yeah, and then the other dudes we would like try to like make money off like drone warfare, betting. So I was like, oh my god. By the time I saw the first footage in Ukraine over here, and how they were sending the dudes we had to go off and fight, just the same way that they did on Goal Site, where they had the gladiators go off and kill each other in Brazil, where you had the two black dudes we were fighting to the death. That was a gladiator bet that they were making on the space station. These are some of the bosses of the Russians on the space station. That's why the Russians copied the methods and they employ it into the field ruthlessly, as if they were like gangsters from like Latin America. Because of the fact that some of the gangsters in Latin America are like some of the politicians that are part of the military. Yeah, that are ruthless onto my offense, specifically what's up. And they're mixing with some of the Muslims that go off and do the mercenary work and the terrorist work across North Africa to maintain that lawlessness for like some of the kings, to be able to maintain a coke line, a contraband line across the entire space realm, to go off and feed Europe drugs around the space. And I think that's way to like a geopolitical goal, or like turning the space into like a electrical zone, and go off to like make billions and trillions of dollars on the space side. So somewhere when I follow my instincts, the Indonesians over here want to like blow up the Saudis' space area, and then somewhat take over the entire oil line with the Iranians as our gangsters, to then go off and lower the cost and reduce the debt on some of the groups over here that are somewhat taking money from the other group and could not keep up with the interest on the space area. So they try to reset it by brute force, by war, the same way that Japan tried to do it. So somewhere, that plot is still in action, and you get to see where the Indians stood into morphing, especially about the Russians and North Koreans on the space. Because they say you have to understand that India itself is almost like a mirror version of China into morphing, specifically when it comes to like ideas and like the way they market and the way they have the products around the space. It's just that the Chinese and the others are like a different type of race. But at the same time, it's the same feedback to a caste system over the entire Oriental space down to the Middle East is a caste system. So I said by the end of the day, yeah, you have no clue how lucky the Americans are to be able to escape the caste system. So also Australia. So these are were new worlds. The Americas and Australia were new worlds that are founded away from a caste slave system. They got lucky. So somewhere, I still got like so much dirt into my offense, specifically that happened to me on the center rim. So I said in this age area, you see all the grand plots that I put into action, and like so many people dying from it. You can't afford to be lame at this age area myself. That's why I decided to like run away as far as I can and go off and be free and chase after technology system. That's why you turn invisible flying cars, invisible robots, and be able to modify for energy around the space and make billions of dollars off of that. And I say again, when you see so many people die and you survive a gas chamber and being poisoned so many times over, what's up? Yeah, welcome to Madman. When you go off and like you make something out of yourself after that.